Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Matthew, for joining us today. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you for joining in. This is a special episode that we usually bring to you at the same time, almost every month. This time, we've got something very, very special for you. This is the first time that we are bringing in a partner who can give you more knowledge about what are the other investment opportunities out there, especially in terms of direct investments in a company itself. A lot of you might be wondering if, apart from equity, what else can we invest in? We've listened to all of the feedback that we've received so far, and alhamdulillah, we've found probably I should say that we found one such enterprise who is doing incredible work in the field of Islamic finance and giving you access to directly invest and take part in the growth stories of small and medium scale enterprises. I've got Matthew over here with me. Matthew is the founder of Blossom Finance. Blossom Finance is an award-winning platform for direct investments into MSMEs. And as you can see, this webinar is being done on the Islamicly platform. That means all of the investment opportunities that Matthew will present and inshallah explain in the next 30 minutes will be halal as well. And they as well have a certification for that. Let me introduce Matthew to you, and then I will show you a small video followed by Matthew's presentation, which will give you a detailed explanation as to what Blossom Finance is, what is the product, and how can you take part in it, inshallah. I hope you will have a good session. And as usual, after Matthew finishes, we will also take up all the Q&As that you will start posting in the chat section. As you can see on the right-hand side, you have a chat function, which is the third option from the right. From the top, you can punch in, click on the chat function and punch in your questions. And inshallah, we will keep answering those questions. Matthew, if he feels that some question is pertinent and could be answered as he presents, he will answer that. But be sure that inshallah, we will end the webinar after we answer all your questions. If at all there are further questions, please do continue posting it. And we will, inshallah, even after the webinar ends, send you all the answers as well. All of this webinar will also be presented to you through a recording, which will be emailed to you as well. And you can refer to it at your leisure as well, inshallah. But it's best that you stay with us till we finish this presentation. Allow me to introduce Matthew now. It's my pleasure to introduce Matthew. Matthew J. Martin is a pioneer in the application of fintech for Islamic finance. His background includes engineering and product management experience in the digital wallet, payment card, money remittance, mobile payments, and mobile banking sectors at venture capital funded international tech startups like Zoom, Boku, and Monetize. So these are big startups that Matthew has been part of. Matthew has advised both the public and private sectors on fintech and blockchain, spanning from central banks and policymakers to early stage technology startups. He's been featured speaker for international audiences in the USA, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Singapore, Malaysia, and in Indonesia at Bank Indonesia, the central bank over there. Kementerian Keuangan. I hope I got that right.
Not bad.
Not bad. It's the Ministry of Finance over there, and OJK, which is the primary financial services authority out there. Prior to Blossom, Matthew started his first blockchain-related venture back in 2013, when Bitcoin was less than $100, unimaginable, which allowed instant purchase of Bitcoin in 27 countries using just a mobile phone. Matthew has studied 8 languages, mashallah, and speaks Indonesian at an intermediate level, in addition to his native English. Matthew embraced Islam in 2010 and currently lives in Jakarta, Indonesia. And Matthew joins us today, inshallah, from New York. Let me get you a sneak peek into what Matthew is going to present, inshallah. I'll just play a small video and then Matthew can take over from there, inshallah. Let's get the video on. Here we go.
Is an investment platform Blossom is an investment platform funding projects making positive social impacts, where you can easily invest in high-quality, halal, ethical investments. Like Islamic Microfinance, working to eliminate poverty by funding micro-entrepreneurs to start or grow profitable business that generates livable incomes. Investors receive profit-sharing payments generated by a portfolio of thousands of micro-businesses. Unlike peer-to-peer, the overall risk is spread out, meaning your investment is safer. In the past, this investment model, called Sukuk, was expensive with high minimums and was only available in select countries. We've streamlined Sukuk using technology, so you can invest like the pros without the price tag, from anywhere in the world, at any size investment. See how your investment can help eliminate poverty and make many other positive social impacts. Visit blossomfinance.com/register to start investing today.
I believe that would have given you a small sneak peek into what Matthew is going to speak about. I'll hand over the spotlight back to Matthew. And everyone, it's my humble request that please stick on, ensure you learn from Matthew. He's a pioneer in the fintech space, alhamdulillah, is joining us from New York this time. And this investment opportunity, inshallah, will help you in your quest for investing in a Sharia compliant manner. Over to you, Matthew.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahli wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, I'm so excited to join all of you. Assalamu alaikum to all of you, wherever you're joining in from. I'm very, very excited to talk to you about investing in micro businesses in Indonesia, something we've been working on for many years, and which we relatively recently, about less than a year ago, opened up to the public. So very excited to talk to you all about this. Please, I'd encourage you, all your questions, do drop them in the Q&A. If I'm not able to address them immediately, we promise all the questions will be answered before the end of the webinar. And there's a question already from Mustafa. I have a presentation I'm going to go into, but there's a question from Mustafa initially. It says, do you invest in companies working in halal sector, but with interest-bearing debt? I mean, I would like to invest in companies working without interest-bearing debt. I know scholars allow 25 to 30%, but I'm skeptical. So I believe the brother's question is about the businesses that we invest in, whether those businesses have interest-bearing debt. The answer to the question is generally no, because of the service partners we work with. Alhamdulillah, these micro businesses do not need to go out and take on interest-bearing debt to finance their business. Alhamdulillah, which is something great. So let me start the presentation. Please confirm in the chat if you can see the presentation. Let's see. If you can see the presentation, please say yes. If you cannot see it, please say no. I need to start it. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, fantastic. So let's get started. Bismillah. So first and foremost, we are talking about investment. So I want to be very clear. All investments carry a degree of risk. It's important that you understand the risks specific in the type of investment that we're talking about today. Those are disclosed in a lot of detail on the website and the other marketing materials that we put together. But I do want to put this up here first to be very, very clear that this is an investment product and it carries a degree of risk, and you should be comfortable with those risks prior to making an investment decision. So this is very important that we start with this. Inshallah, everyone would have an opportunity to read the full risk disclosure that's available on our website as well. Okay, I'll just leave a moment for people to be able to read this. Okay, great. So Bismillah. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a sector called microfinance. And this is a typical customer that we're talking about. So we're not talking about large enterprise that would be traded on a public stock market. We're not even talking about what might be called, in some markets, a medium enterprise, which can go to a commercial bank. We're talking about in Indonesia, these types of real economy sector businesses. What does that mean? It means businesses providing essential services. They're doing the real work in the economy. They're making food as farmers. They're wholesalers of food. They're grocery store owners, convenience store owners. They're providing, mechanical services, iron making services, small industry. They're making shoes, all the types of products that are essential for life. This is the type of customer we're talking about. And in Indonesia, that comprises something like 60 to 70%, of the economy, the day-to-day economy is these types of micro businesses. Now, if you look at the woman here in the yellow and these other women, this is actually a pasar subuh. So subuh is at the fajr time. So this market actually you see here is in a bus terminal. And before the buses arrive in the morning, they open up this market and they sell vegetables and fish and other things. And it starts, they arrive around 3 a.m., subhanAllah. And by 5:30 a.m., this market would be closed. So this is a very, very different type of customer than a business that would go to a big commercial bank. Okay. And so for this type of customer, you need a different model. And when we talk about microfinance, we need to understand what is the goal of microfinance. Microfinance is a very often misunderstood word. Microfinance is not about financing small amounts of money. That is not the goal, right? If it was just about financing small amounts of money, we could just give some money, charge interest, and not fear Allah and say, that's it, we don't care, right? But microfinance is about reducing poverty. That is the goal here. We want to provide the working capital for these business owners to thrive. We want to provide the working capital that lets them finance their business operations without having to take on heavy debt, without having to engage in usurious or riba-based finance. This is our goal. Why? To keep them out of poverty. This is why riba is prohibited in our religion, because it pulls people down into poverty. And so microfinance, if it's real microfinance, it should be about increasing access to help people save money, because we want to grow their wealth and protect their wealth, inshallah. But we also want to help them be productive. We want to help them finance their business operations. So the question is, what does microfinance, real microfinance, what does it look like for this type of customer we showed in the marketplace? Well, this is actually a typical transaction. So this is a transaction in that marketplace I showed you. This is in Central Java, in the middle of Central Java, up in the volcanic mountains, high altitude, beautiful mornings, beautiful sunrise up there, and people get up just after the Fajr, go to the market, and this is her banker. So you can see here the banker on the right, he's providing the transaction services directly at her place of business. So she is in the market conducting her business, and she's able to save money. She's able to deposit money in a savings account that costs her nothing. There's no fees associated with that account. And then she's also able to engage in financing and to take credit for her business if she needs to finance. For example, this is tempeh. Tempeh, for those of you who don't know, it's from Indonesia originally. It's a soybean-based protein. It's very, very popular in Indonesia. It's basically fermented soybeans that are pressed into a cake. And so if she needs to buy the raw soybeans, this credit service is one way she's able to do that. And we'll talk about the structure and how we make sure it's Sharia compliant in a little bit later. We'll get into those details. But I want you to see the difference in the transaction here. We're not talking about just something that's online. We're not talking about an online loan shark. We're not talking about a commercial bank. This is a very, very different type of finance that's very tailored to the needs of this unique customer. By coming at 4 or 5 in the morning, meeting her at her place of business and allowing her to, you can see she's paying one of her financing arrangements there. You can see it looks like about 120,000 rupiah. So that would be about $10 US dollars. Okay. So it's a very different model. And this is what finance looks like for this segment. So this is one of our service partners. On the top left, you see the staff. So you see they're professionals, they're dressed well, they're educated. On the right, you can see their branch. So in many ways, they actually do have an office that looks like a bank, but what you would find under the surface, subhanAllah, is very, very different from a bank. The service, the customer service, is what you see on the bottom left. By the way, all these photos that I present today, I took, except the staff photo. The staff photo I didn't take, but every other photo is a photo I personally took myself. On the bottom left, you can see the agent from the service provider going to her place of business. In this case, the woman there in the red hijab, she has a very inspiring story. Inshallah, if there's time later, I can share. But she was a widow, she was jobless, and she was able to be financed, alhamdulillah, and open a small restaurant on the side of the road. And now she's actually very successful, financed through this model. Okay. Here's another one of our service partners. You can see very professional staff, mashallah, beautiful building. They even have corporate cars there, but then you see the model of service. You can see on the bottom here, the agent going to this very, very humble corner store, this very, very humble market, and providing the service at the point where the person is working. So they don't need to come to the office. They don't need to stand in line. And this is really, really important. I want to emphasize this. This is not a peer-to-peer financing model or online lender model. This is a very, very different model we're talking about. So what's unique about microfinance in Indonesia is these service partners, our service partners, they combine Islamic social funds with commercial funds. Now, what are Islamic social funds? I hope, inshallah, we're all familiar with zakat, sadaqah, infaq, and waqaf. You know, the obligatory and non-obligatory charitable giving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fi sabilillah, right? So they combine Islamic social funds in one institution with commercial funds, and this is where Blossom Finance comes in. So your funds, inshallah, if you invest with Blossom, your funds fall under the commercial funds. So I'll explain why the combination of these two. Why is that important? Well, when we talk about the poor, remember, our goal for microfinance is to lift people out of poverty, inshallah. It's not enough to just give a poor person with no job and no skills and no education. It is not sufficient to just give them $100 and say, go start a business. That's not realistic. They're not going to be able to do anything with that. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to have a way to help people lift them up this ladder in terms of the low economic status on the pyramid. The poorest of the poor and the poor, they're not ready to receive commercial finance. There needs to be a mechanism to promote them out to become productive, take them from unproductive and promote them up to be productive, inshallah. And this is the way our finance partners do this. Using Islamic social funds, they start with the unproductive, with the jobless and the poor. They give them from zakat and sadaqah, they give grants. For example, they will give a family bulk rice, okay? And they will not just give them rice, but they'll teach them how to sell that rice every day. They'll help them make a sign. They'll help them effectively open a store selling rice in their community, okay? And they train them and they give them education, but ultimately it's up to that family to be diligent and to become entrepreneurs. So they give this as a grant. Now, at the end of the day, if the business is not successful of rice, the family can eat the rice. So at least they're not hungry, right? But the goal here is not just giving them a handout. The goal is making them productive, generating a source of income. That's what's going to lift them out of poverty. Okay. So if they do that successfully, if in this example of rice, if, for example, that business is open during predictable hours, the institution will say they have successfully graduated out of poorest of the poor, and now they qualify for the next level, which is an interest-free loan, Qard al-Hasan. So again, this is from Islamic social funds. Then they will take more of those Islamic social funds. They'll say, congratulations, you were successful to sell rice. How about you add some snacks? How about some drinks? We will give you an interest-free loan to purchase additional products that you can sell from your new shop, but you have to pay back that capital. Okay, so it's not a gift anymore. It's not a grant. You have to pay it back, but with no interest. Okay, So they start doing that, and if that is successful, they've successfully left the unproductive segments, and now they qualify for commercial Islamic finance. Okay, and here's an example. This is a successful business that started very humbly and was able to graduate through those levels. Okay, so this is the key of, alhamdulillah, the thing that's so unique about Islamic finance, Islamic microfinance. We have Islamic social funds available. Non-Islamic microfinance does not have this luxury. But in our case, we can use these Islamic social funds and help cultivate the poor until they, inshallah, qualify for Islamic social funds. And we just want to go back actually to, yes. So once they qualify for the commercial funds, you can see here, once they've been promoted up that ladder, then they qualify for the commercial funds. Okay. And the financing for them, once they've been successful, once they're commercially viable, comes from the savings of the members of the service partners, investment capital, and, for example, Blossom Finance. And this is where we come in. Okay. So I just want to explain this model. It's very unique to Islamic finance, and mashallah, it's very successful in many cases. So here's some examples of some businesses who've been funded through this model. This woman, mashallah, has a very inspiring story. She started with one very, very humble store in her home, and she expanded over the years. She started when she was young, in her early 20s, when she was first married. She now owns 3 large grocery stores. Well, large by Indonesian standards, not by American standards, but mashallah, very successful grocery stores. Like this is one you can see here. And she also purchased a commercial fishing boat. So she is really, mashallah, a true entrepreneur. She's gone from very, very humble beginnings, and now she has multiple successful grocery stores, as well as a fishing enterprise. All of this financed through this Islamic finance model using these service partners. It's everyday staples of life, right? Butchers. This woman, this is shallots. In Indonesian, we say bawang merah, so like red onion, meaning, but it's shallots basically. So she's a wholesaler. So it's not just retail, it's every segment of society, but it's these micro industries. In her case, she's a wholesaler. So she distributes shallots, which is for those of you who know Indonesian food, red onions, shallots is very, very important for Indonesian cooking. Mashallah, this gentleman has a very inspiring story too. He is a shoe seller. When he first started, he was so poor that all he was able to do was to sit in front of the market and spread out a blanket, and he collected used secondhand shoes, and he was selling secondhand shoes on a blanket. And now, through his business, he was able to grow because he received financing to help him grow. He now has this truck, and he is selling new shoes, brand new shoes. So he's no longer selling secondhand. He's selling, mashallah, he's selling brand new, nice shoes, and he's quite well known now in his community. Mashallah, very successful. So this is just a snapshot, but there's more than 30 industries, sectors that we finance using this model. Everything across the board. The key here is it's all real economy sector. Okay. This is not, this is not large publicly traded companies. This is something, it's quite the opposite, right? It's individual entrepreneurs. They may have 1 or 2 employees, or maybe 5 or 6 employees, but they're very small enterprises providing the real day-to-day services of society. Okay, so I'm going to go through and answer a few questions now. Inshallah, we'll take a pause. Yeah, there's a question from Muhammad. Is it open for Indians? Yes, and also, alhamdulillah, through a partner of Islamicly, we believe we have a channel for remittance that would make your investment easier, inshallah, and we can talk about that in more detail later. Is there an app? A question from Saifullah. Is there an app? How easy is it to get started and fund the money for investment? So we have a web-based app. We do not have an app that you install on your phone, but if you go to blossomfinance.com/register, there is a web-based application, and it basically you just need to enter the amount. You can see a profit calculation, an estimated profit calculation. We need your government issued photo ID. So we have to verify your identity as investor. Once you've done that, you transfer the funds. Usually that takes about 3 business days for us to receive those funds, and that's it. And then you receive a profit sharing payment. We'll go into those details later, but yes, it's basically that those are the steps. You need to register, verify your ID, and decide on the amount you'd like to invest and transfer your funds. What makes Blossom Finance different from other halal robo-advisors? Question from Saifullah. So I would not qualify Blossom as a robo-advisor. Generally, robo-advisor is a term used to describe equity-based investing, so investing in public equities. So I wouldn't actually characterize Blossom as a robo-advisor. If you compare Blossom Finance to other models where you're financing small and medium businesses, the unique thing about our model is really the microfinance element, the service partners, which you saw, which provide the day-to-day in-person interaction and verification with the businesses, and then also the nature of the risk management that we blend the fund and we try to absolutely reduce your risk by investing in a variety of businesses across a variety of different sectors, service partners, and industries. Question from Faisal. What is the expected return on investment annually? The expected return, Faisal, to answer your question, we quote between 10 to 15% annual return. The profit rate is variable, and we'll talk about what that means. It's actually very important from a Sharia compliance perspective. But between 10 to 15%, you can expect as a return on your investment annually. Alhamdulillah, in most cases, investors have achieved returns well over 15%. But what we say to investors is reasonable to expect is between 10 to 15%, inshallah. Okay, can you Blossom like Wahed? Is this Blossom Finance like Wahed Invest? The answer is no. Ira Yulianti asked if Blossom Finance is like Wahed Invest. The answer is no. Wahed Invest invests in publicly traded large companies. Blossom Finance helps you invest in real economy sector micro businesses. Is this a question from Abdul Hadi Sheikh? Oh, great. This is a product. Oh, yeah, great. So some of the questions are already answered. Website mentioned different small civil servants or scheduled business money go to use and transfer. Is there a schedule? Is there a schedule all business or money going to be used? So the question from Mohammed is basically of all the categories, how do you know which categories your investment is used in? And that is our role and responsibility. So we work with our service partners to actively manage the portfolio to balance that risk and make sure that it's diversified in a variety of segments. We don't allow you to directly choose businesses. And that's very important because these amounts are very small. Typically, $1,000 is typically all one of these businesses needs. So it's not practical for an investor to come in and actively select businesses. Operationally, it just doesn't work. And also that would concentrate your risk. So we take your funds and we balance those with our service providers to create a blended portfolio that inshallah achieves a very, very attractive rate of return while trying to minimize that risk. So we actively manage that. We take that on. And then we do provide information about the concentration of the portfolio, the industries where we're invested, but we actively manage that. And that literally changes day to day. So every single month that composition is changing based on the portfolio. So the second question is military and police, civil servant, construction and contracting, security services don't seem like micro businesses. So great question. So in some cases, in order to do their job, they need, for example, a vehicle to go to work. So in some cases, like a civil servant, for example, one of the biggest challenges in Indonesia and many regions is financing of a scooter to get to work. And this is the biggest segment where there's predatory lending from loan sharks that charge sometimes 2 or 3% interest per day. Basically, people never escape debt if they go through a loan shark to finance a scooter. So a scooter is an area where some individuals who are working in the public and public sector, there are some service partners that will finance, for example, the cost of a vehicle, which is very important for them to be able to do their work and service their community. Construction and contracting, that is very much a micro business in Indonesia. Construction in Indonesia is very much micro industry. It's not like maybe in the US, for example, where contractors are generally large companies. In Indonesia, it's basically laborers who they need to purchase materials. They need to finance their cost of materials to go do the construction. Who is head in India? I'm not sure about the question. How to invest on these? Is it clearly how? Yes, Zaid Sheikh, we'll go into the details of the structure and more detail in Sharia compliance in a minute. Minimum amount of investment is about $150 US is the minimum. Do you use TransferWise account to pay back the return? Yes, we can use we can pay to a TransferWise account. Do you have any representative office or partner in Indonesia? Yes, we do have not just a representative office, but we are fully licensed as a microfinance institution in Indonesia. And so we're fully licensed and regulated in Indonesia. It's not just a partner office. We have a full license. Can you clarify about taxes? Maybe I'll go into that a little bit later. I can clarify about taxes. Indian bank, invest from Australia. Yes, we already have several investors from Australia. Basam Ahmad. We already have several investors from Australia. Alhamdulillah. Blossom Finance provide interest-free. How is it? Great question. So Brother Hamid Reza asks, if it's interest-free, how is the investor getting 10 to 15% return? Great question. So remember, the interest-free, the Qard al-Hasan, and the grant, that falls under Islamic social finance. That is not what we do. That is to our service partners use the Islamic social funds from their community to get someone out of poverty. Once they're out of poverty, commercial finance takes over, which is the role we're playing. And we'll talk about the structure and the Sharia compliance a little bit later. I have a slide on that. Does it have a drip system? I don't know what that is. Do you mean direct reinvestment program? Yes, we do have a direct reinvestment program. At the end of your tenor, you can decide to reinvest the funds. In fact, you can withdraw the profit on a monthly basis, but it is subject to any transfer fees, or you can decide to reinvest the profit as well as the principal at the end of the tenor you select. And by the way, 1 year is recommended. We offer a higher profit sharing, but you don't need to do for 1 year. You could do just for 3 months. How easy to top up, withdraw money from my investment account? Question from Rafik. So Rafik, the answer to your question is generally for most investors, based on where they are, for most investors, it's a bank transfer. So in question of top up, withdraw money for investment account, first of all, when you invest, this is an investment. You are locking up your money for the period you decide. So that can be I believe it's 4, 6, 9, or 12 months. 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. So you have to decide when you invest. Are you investing for 3, 6, 9, or 12? When you make that decision, when you invest, based on that agreement, the funds, you cannot withdraw the original funds until the end of that. Okay, and that's the model here. This is not like a bank account where you put money in and take money out every day. This is a model where you make a decision to invest, you put the funds in, and you decide I'm going to invest for 3 months or I'm going to invest for 12 months. And at the end of those 12 months, you can decide to withdraw the original funds as well as the profit or reinvest them. Okay. What ACAD contract agreement do you use in financing businesses? Question from Supan. I have a slide on that and we'll go into a lot of detail on that, Supan. Minimum investment, $100. How does Blossom make profits? Great question, Amar. We only make money when investors make money. So Blossom, our role, we take a profit sharing as well as our service partners. Okay. So it's based on profit sharing, and the amount of profit sharing varies based upon how long you decide to invest. So we give a higher profit sharing for 12 months, a lower profit sharing for 3 months. And there's a question, any lock-in period? Yes. So you have to decide 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. Is BTST allowed? I'm not sure, Brother Mazhar. I'm not sure what BTST is. If you can clarify, inshallah, I'll be happy to answer. Okay, great questions. So again, Blossom Finance is relatively new in terms of opening up to the public. This is our previous fund. This won some awards, and the Islamic finance people thought this was really cool, and we got a lot of people were excited about this. But alhamdulillah, most important thing to us is we financed some good businesses, some great entrepreneurs, and alhamdulillah, the investors had an attractive rate of return. I would like to point out that, remember, 2019 to August 2022, this was the absolute height of the pandemic. Despite being the height of the pandemic, alhamdulillah, this performed quite well for investors. Okay, and this is our current fund. So you can see, so two things here. The blue line on the right, you can see this is a monthly return. So in 1 month, what's your return on capital? And the blue bar with the number above, this is your annualized return on investment. Okay, so one thing that's important, by the way, just generally, when you're considering investment opportunities, you should be looking at annualized basis. Okay, if an investment product is quoted to you, it says we're going to give you a 30% return in 4 years. Like, what does that mean, right? In finance, it's very important we compare apples to apples, as we say in English. Okay, so the way to do that is to look at returns on an annualized basis, and that's what we do. We provide so here you can see both the monthly absolute return on capital, but also the annualized return. Okay. Represent India best not allowed because where Boston Finance registered and okay, so where's Boston Finance registered? Indonesian government. So we have a cooperative. We're registered with the Ministry of Cooperatives as a savings and loan cooperative. Actually, it's specifically a Sharia compliant savings and loan cooperative. And in the U.S., we are a U.S. Delaware corporation. And I have a slide that will explain exactly that detail. Okay. Zaid Sheikh, minimum, how much we invest? Okay. I think we answered all the questions, inshallah. Great. So this will go into more detail here about the legal structure. I should have actually had this slide up as I was explaining. So Blossom is a U.S. Delaware corporation. Why Delaware? That's actually where all corporations in the U.S. are registered that receive investment. Because of the laws they protect investors most strongly in Delaware. So Blossom is a technology company. We provide the platform, we provide the technology, and then we have also a microfinance cooperative called Gerbang Digital Nasional, which means in Indonesian, National Digital Gateway. That's the translation. That is registered as KSPPS, which is a financing cooperative. So this means we have a license to collect funds from investors and to invest those funds into other businesses or individuals. Okay, so we have that license. So what's unique about our model, which I mentioned, the servicers, I talked about the services. They are doing the day-to-day. They are on the ground. They are visiting the micro and small businesses, and they are doing the day-to-day servicing. And that's very, very important. This is called underwriting. They are selecting the businesses and verifying the businesses. It's not just about ID verification. They have to visit the business. They have to make sure the business is viable. And they also do reputational analysis within the community. They're providing enormous value. So I want to emphasize this is not just a digital platform where people come and apply and we check their ID and give them money. Absolutely not. Our service providers are really helping these businesses and guiding them and making sure that the funds are used for productive purposes, which is very important. Okay. Now, in terms of Sharia compliance, so when you invest with Blossom, you invest under a profit sharing arrangement. Okay, this is akad mudarabah. So you agree that you will give us funds and we will invest those funds on your behalf, acting as the mudarib, and you as the capital provider, as Rab al-Mal, agree to give us a profit sharing percentage. Okay, so this is how your arrangement works with Blossom. What we in turn do with those funds is we select various service providers and we provide those funds to service providers in a suitable way to balance the portfolio based on region, based on composition of industry. And those businesses with a exactly similar arrangement based on profit sharing, those finance partners, those service partners, they finance the beneficiaries based on either murabaha or mudarabah. What does that mean? Murabaha is a cost plus financing. It's used to finance tangible goods. For example, the grocery stores you saw, very, very common that the market traders need to finance the purchase of inventory. So the institution will purchase the inventory for the beneficiary, and there will be a markup on that. Okay. And the key, and I want to distinguish here when we say murabaha, those of you who may have some background in Islamic finance know there is something called murabaha used by commercial bank. This is not the same thing. The murabaha used by commercial bank is a very different thing where they're doing some very fancy contracts and dealing with copper and base metals and other things. This is very simple agreement. It's to finance a real purchase of some asset, like a scooter, a hand phone could be. Most of the time, it's raw materials, especially raw materials for market traders, wholesalers, grocery stores, convenience stores, etc. This is the number one thing that's financed. But anything that's real raw materials, for example, spare parts for a shop that services motorcycles. This is a very, very common item that's financed. Okay. So there's a question from Zaid Sheikh. It's like a mutual fund, right? So generally mutual funds, there's similarities. Generally, I would say no, because generally mutual funds are mostly invested in publicly traded products. So like equities and bonds. This is just investing in micro businesses, which mutual funds generally do not invest in. Unfortunately, this model of business fail in the future, then what will be the loss sharing? Okay, great question. So the profit sharing arrangement, a mudaraba, to be Sharia compliant, investors must bear a risk of loss. If there is no risk of loss, it's not Sharia compliant. Okay, it is not Sharia compliant to provide a guarantee for an investment product. However, the key with our model here, the beauty of our model is, if individual businesses fail, it does not affect the overall outcome generally, because we are spreading your investment across a portfolio of many businesses. Okay. There are always some failures with the small businesses, but the percentage is very, very small. Even during COVID, you saw, if I go back, actually, let me go back to the COVID. It's a little bit small, but maybe you can see in January, February, March, April, May, many of the businesses started to have problems. Okay. But because the businesses were significantly diversified, and also because they're real sector economy businesses, the fund was able to recover. The portfolio was able to recover. Okay. So the key here is the diversification, the blend, and also we're focused on the real sector economy. Even when there's COVID, people still need to buy food. People still need to fix their motorcycle, right? All of these things, very, very important sectors for the economy. So to answer your question, Mudassar Patel, this model of business fail in the future, what would be the loss sharing? So the investors bear full risk of loss. Okay. However, in practice, if a few businesses fail, it does not affect the overall return. Okay. That would mean that could potentially, if a variety of businesses failed, it may mean the difference between a 15% return and a 14.5% return. Okay. If a large number of individual businesses failed. But that's the key here. That's the beauty of this model, is because we're aggregating many, many businesses together, that overall reduces the risk. And that's the key here. That's really the key of the model. Okay. So to invest, how does it work? So basically the most important thing first, as I mentioned, read the prospectus on the website. This explains everything in detail, especially the risks. You subscribe by entering the amount, and you need to choose your tenor. In other words, 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. And I believe if you're based in India, just select the 12-month tenor so that you qualify for the, there's a specifically something related to investment in foreign investments, but select that 12-month tenor, because that will lock up your money for 12 months and you qualify for that advantageous treatment under Indian law, just for the Indian investors who are on the call. And then basically that's it. Every month you receive a report. Okay, generally around the 10th of the month, maximum the 15th of the month, but sometimes it's a little bit sooner, because we're aggregating reports from a lot of our service partners. We provide an update and a report about the performance of the fund, and specifically your share of the profit is shown on the application. And then as well, we provide some stories about some of these businesses that are financed. We believe it's important to make this connection to the real, because we're investing in the real economy sector. We believe it's important to highlight some of those stories of these fantastic entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, during the COVID lockdowns, we weren't able to continue doing the stories and videos. We have some of the older ones available on our YouTube, but this is something we'll be doing, inshallah, more in the future now that Indonesia is in a much better shape after COVID. Lockdowns have been restricted and there's more freedom of movement. So we're able to go around and do these types of interviews, collect these stories, these videos, and photos as well, inshallah. Question from Subhan. How long is investment horizon? So generally, we recommend a 12-month tenor, but you can invest for 3 months, but 12 months will give you the optimum profit sharing. If you only want to invest for 12 months, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Approximately how many businesses are you financing now? So collectively with our service partners, it's probably on the order of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 businesses. I don't know the number off my top of my head, but in that ballpark. It may actually be more because we've added some service partners. What is the minimum amount for and it varies, by the way, it varies every month, the exact number of businesses that are in the portfolio. What minimum amount for reinvesting? There's no minimum amount for reinvesting the return. You can do that at any minimum amount. The only minimums are when you withdraw your funds are subject to the transfer fee. So when we transfer funds back to you, there's a fee associated with that. Generally, it's around $10 US to $15 US. So just bear that in mind. If you invest, you can invest $150, but keep in mind, if you withdraw $150, you're going to pay a bank transfer fee of $15. That's not a wise investment decision. If you invest $150, I recommend doing that for at least some longer term, or investing. If you want to just invest small amounts, that's fine. But you're better off if you're investing, I would say, at least $1,000, because the transfer fees are substantial when you're only investing a really, really small amount. But of course, it's up to you. Any investment amount above $150, we welcome. Walaikum salam, Muhammad Said. Want to check your business balance sheet, profitability, losses available on your website. Zaid Sheikh is asking about, so we don't publish the P&L for Blossom Finance. That's actually a great thing we should make available. So we don't currently do that, but that inshallah will be a great thing to put on the website. So we can follow up with you on that, Zaid Sheikh, if you'd like to look at the P&L of Blossom Finance. Well, we have two institutions. We have Blossom Finance, and then we also have the National Digital Gateway, Gerbang Digital Nasional, which is our cooperative. Can it be more than 12 months as well? Currently, we do not support more than 12 months. So no, Muhammad Hanif, there's no advantage to doing more than 12 months. Well, there is an advantage if you reinvest after 12 months, that you would not bear any transfer fees. So you wouldn't incur any transfer fees if you reinvest the funds. Again, it depends upon the amount. But if you think about, for $100, a $15 transfer fee, that's 15%. That's the projected return. So if you only invest $100 and you withdraw $100, you've basically made zero. You basically get $100 back. You may as well not have invested, right? If you invest $1,000, that's only 1.5% the transfer fee. So that's more reasonable. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Said. Please tell if it's also within smart microfinance using blockchain and whether Ethereum plays for it's a great question. So I'm glad the brother asked this question. So when we originally started as a platform, we were actually built on the blockchain. And this is one thing that got a lot of professional people in finance very excited. However, we've since moved completely off the blockchain. Why? Because of one of the reasons Brother Said mentioned, the Ethereum price fluctuation, yes, but also there's transfer costs associated with that blockchain that were very high. When we started, they were only $1 to $2 per investor transaction. Those are now closer to $150, $200, in some cases $500. So we actually moved our technology. We spent a lot of time, unfortunately. It breaks my heart that we spent so much time investing in technology with the blockchain. But what we found is actually it wasn't giving any benefit to investors. So I'm a technology guy, but I am all about, and we as a company are all about providing solutions that offer value. We saw the blockchain wasn't actually adding value to our investors, so we moved everything off the blockchain. It actually took quite a bit of time. it makes me sick when I think about how much time we invested in the blockchain. But we're all about doing something practical for the benefit of the investors and the benefit of these businesses. So we've actually moved our platform completely off the blockchain. So we are no longer on the Ethereum blockchain for those reasons. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Excellent issue. May Allah bless. Ameen, ameen. Is this available in other countries, including Canada? Yes. Generally speaking, this product is available in any country except countries subject to U.S. sanctions. So that excludes Iran, unfortunately. I'm very sorry, brothers and sisters, if you're dialing in from Iran. By the way, kami Farsi mifhamam. I speak a little bit of Farsi. It's one of my languages I studied, but unfortunately, it's not available to because we are a U.S. company. We are not able to offer this product for any country that is subject to U.S. sanctions. Give me just one moment. Okay, next question. When we withdraw the fund, how much is it charged by the bank? So generally, it depends upon your country. Zaid Sheikh asks, how much will we be charged by the bank? It's generally around $10 to $15, but it depends upon your country, and it depends upon the amount you withdraw. But it's generally around $10 to $15. Explain. 1,000 generate 10 per month. Is it possible to reinvest this amount while your minimum is $100? Oh, so okay, great. So the brother Ahmed asked a question. How is it possible to reinvest $10 of profit when the minimum to invest is 100? So profit, there's no minimum to, once you have the minimum to make your first investment is $150 or equivalent. Once you've done that, there's no minimum to reinvest. But we only accept a minimum of $150 because from our operational perspective, it also wouldn't make sense for investors to invest a very tiny amount. But once you have funds in the platform, there's no minimum to reinvest, and you can automatically reinvest the funds with no minimum. Okay, I hope that's clear. It's just a minimum. The first time investment is about $150 to make your first investment. But once your funds are in the platform, you can withdraw any amount of funds. There's no minimum withdrawal except that you have to bear the transfer fee of $10 to $15. So just bear that in mind. Question from Mazhar. Is Bitcoin halal? Inshallah, that's a topic for another day. We actually have research on our website. If you go to blossomfinance.com/Bitcoin, we were one of the original, we hired a Sharia scholar to research about this topic because we wanted to know, because we were decided to use blockchain many years ago. And that research is available on our website. I'm not a scholar, but you can read the opinion of the scholar that we hired to research. Allahu alam, but Allah knows best. But the opinion of that scholar and many scholars is that if you invest in something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, without excessive speculation, that inshallah is halal. But this, again, read the information provided by the scholar that's available on our website. But we don't offer any Bitcoin or cryptocurrency investment on our platform. Do you provide profit payments monthly or quarterly? Monthly, Brother Rizwan. We provide profit payments monthly. May I know for this microfinance service, will it be available to another country aside from Indonesia? If so, what will be upcoming country Blossom plan to invest in? Brother Rafik, to answer your question, we don't have any plans to invest outside of Indonesia at this time. The capital investment we had to make to build a network of service providers to become licensed as a financial institution and build these relationships was very expensive. It's unlikely we would, in the short term, that we would launch this microfinance model in another country for a variety of reasons, but especially because Indonesia is one of the few countries with these fantastic service providers combining Islamic social funds with commercial finance that we believe is so valuable. Question from Zaid. Intraday is halal. I don't know. I'm not sure what the question is referencing. Is there SIP with this product? I'm not sure what SIP means. Brother Abdul Hadi, do you know the?
Essentially means
the Indian.
Systematic.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is systematic investment plan. It's like people say I'd like to invest $100 every month, and it automatically deducts from their account, and the money goes through. So I don't think so that will be available because this is a cross-border thing.
Yeah, that is correct. So we don't have SIP. It's not available because this is cross-border. You're absolutely right. Okay, great. So, who oversees Blossom, and does Blossom customer get protection from SIPC and FDIC? So, great question from Ira Yulianti. Sounds like Indonesian name. Oh, sorry, that's my son. You hear my son in the background. I'm in New York, so today's Sunday. So I'm here at home today. Who oversees Blossom? So there's two entities. So Blossom Finance is a U.S. technology company. We're licensed as a U.S. Delaware company, and we are subject to U.S. federal law as well as Delaware corporate law. Gerbang Digital Nasional is registered as Indonesian Cooperative, specifically KSPPS. Actually, we have two licenses. One is as a digital service provider in internet business, and the second is a finance cooperative. That is regulated by Ministry of Cooperative. So to directly answer the question, do Blossom Finance customers get protection from SIPC and FDIC? No, because we're not a bank. Okay, this is an investment platform. Okay, so FDIC not relevant here, but specifically the financial entity is Gerbang Digital Nasional, regulated by Ministry of Cooperatives. Intraday in share market. I'm not sure what that question means. Taxation for the investment we have to pay in our country. Can you explain? Yes. So the question is about taxation. So, and I'll just go to the next slide here. So, okay. If you're a U.S. investor, we provide a tax. We basically provide a 1099 MISC. So, for U.S. tax purposes, if you're a U.S. national, in other words, you're a U.S. citizen, or you live in the U.S., you are a permanent resident, you're subject to U.S. tax, and we provide those tax documents. If your investment exceeds a certain threshold, I'm not sure if it's $3,000, I forget off the top of my head, there's an additional report we have to help you file, which is it's FBAR. It's basically for financial assets held overseas by U.S. persons. So we help you file that. If you are not in the U.S., you're not a U.S. citizen, or you're not in the U.S., there's no U.S. tax. You are subject to your own local taxation. Okay. Unfortunately, this time we don't provide tax consulting. We don't provide tax advice for non-U.S. countries. But sorry, give me 1 second.
In the meanwhile, till Matthew comes back, let me give you a small understanding about all the questions that you're posting. Please remember, this webinar is about this specific investment product which Matthew is presenting through Blossom Finance. Questions regarding stocks and investments, the general things on the Islamicly app, please refer them on the Islamicly app in the general discussion, and we'll be happy to answer. At the end of this webinar, when Matthew is done, inshallah, I will take you through a couple of slides which will tell you how people from India can invest in this scheme as well. I will also answer a couple of questions which are specific to India. Inshallah, please wait for that. So in Hindi or Urdu, ये webinar स्पेसिफिकली मैथ्यू एंड ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस के लिए है. अगर आपको उनसे कोई सवाल पूछना है तो वो पूछिए. स्टॉक्स इन्वेस्टमेंट, शरिया कंप्लायंस ऑफ स्टॉक्स के बारे में अगर आपको कुछ पूछना है तो आप इस्लामिकली ऐप पर पूछ सकते हैं. कैसे आप लोग इंडिया से होकर ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, इसका प्रोडक्ट प्रेजेंटेशन मैं आपको इंशाल्लाह इस वेबिनार के एंड में दूंगा. प्लीज रिमेंबर, दिस as a webinar is being done in partnership with Blossom Finance. All risks and liabilities lie with Blossom Finance, and Islamicly is only providing a platform for Matthew and his team in Blossom Finance to present their views to you. Let's get back to the questions. And Matthew, just one more thing. There are questions in the chat function as well. So in chat, there are two parts, chat and Q&A. So once you finish the Q&A, please do go through the chat function and answer those questions as well. Over to you.
Hey. Sorry about that. My son just needed some help. Great. Hold on. Okay, great. Where are we with questions, brother? Reinvesting less than okay. So let me scroll down. Taxation for the investment you have to pay in our country. Yeah. So that we were talking about tax. So yeah, basically any local tax that if it depends on your local situation. So many countries, if you invest for at least a lockup of at least 1 year, you'd be subject to long-term capital gains, which is usually taxed more favorably. If you invest for less than 12 months, you'd be subject to short-term capital gains. In many countries, for whatever reason, profit-sharing investments are taxed as loans. Even though they're not loans, it's an investment, it's based on profit sharing. Many countries just treat them as interest. So the tax rate would basically be the tax rate for interest on loans that you make, or interest from a depository account. Okay, but many countries would also allow you to file as long-term capital gains, which is generally very tax advantageous. And that would generally, again, I'm not a tax attorney. I can't provide specific legal advice based on your country. However, generally 12 months qualifies for long-term capital gains in most markets. Question from Ahmad, brother Ahmad. If reinvesting is allowed for less amount, means the payout using IRR formula will be around 25% per year. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at potentially, I think what you're saying makes sense, brother Ahmad. But again, yeah, I'm not sure. I actually understand. But what you're saying, I think you're basically compounding okay, I understand the confusion here. So the formula we use to provide the annualized rate of return already includes that in the calculation, I believe. I'm actually not sure about using IRR formula would be around 25%, but inshallah, would be happy to follow up and actually address this more specifically, what you're specifically saying here, and what I'm not actually exactly sure on your question. How many time frame bank and company will take to withdraw the amount? Generally between 3 to 5 business days, maximum 5 business days. How often brother Hadif, how often are we able to withdraw our funds of profit? You can withdraw the profit every month if you like. The funds, the original funds you invest, it's at the end of the tenor. The tenor is the number of months you select when you invest. So it's 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. So if you invest for 12 months, you cannot withdraw those funds that you invested for 12 months. Now, we do make exceptions. If there's an exceptional circumstance, alhamdulillah, we've never had to, but we're more than willing, if someone has an emergency, of course, we're more than willing to allow someone to withdraw their funds early if there's a real need. But this is not the way you should be approaching this product. This product is a product you should be allocating funds that you know you will not need for that tenor. If you know you'll need them sooner, you should invest with a less tenor. Okay. How many investors do you currently have, and how much Blossom Fund currently worth? Great question. So this fund that we're specifically presenting today, we just launched. We have 20 investors in this fund. How many and how much is the fund? This specific fund is worth $150,000 today that we're just launching, that we're presenting to you. Okay. Collectively, let me tell you the actual number. Collectively to date, 1 second, I'll tell you. Yeah, so collectively with our service partners, it's about $6.4 million. But the specific fund we're presenting today is currently about $150,000 US, and there's 20 investors who've already invested in this fund. Is there any investment fee to pay from the profit? Yes. So we earn, Blossom and our service partners, we earn a profit sharing. So if you invest for 12 months, we take 20% of your profits. We don't charge any withdrawal fee, investment fee, management fee, service fee, administrative fee, anything. We only charge one fee, and that's a profit sharing. So our goal is aligning our interest with the interest of the investor. If the investors don't make money, we don't make money either. So of course we would lose money because we've invested time. Alhamdulillah, of course, it's never happened, but that's our goal, is aligning the interest of the investors with us as a company. And so that's why we base this on pure profit sharing. 20%, it's higher if it's less than 12 months, but it's 20% if you invest for 12 months. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for the, how much fees for profit sharing? It's 20%, Zaid Sheikh, if you invest for 12 months. 20% profit sharing. Okay. Alhamdulillah, I think we got through all the questions. Are there any other questions? But mashallah, the questions have been great. Thank you so much for these great questions. Everyone's very, very engaged.
If you can click on the chat, there are two.
Okay.
There's a chat which will have a red dot as well.
Okay.
The questions over there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, there's recording. How does Blossom earn? So profit sharing. So we take 20% of your profits. We don't charge a management or administration fee. Is this investment model approved by local or international authority? Mohad Nazir asked. Yes, we are fully licensed as an Indonesian finance cooperative. That allows us to collect these investments from both local Indonesians as well as foreigners to Indonesia and invest them into Indonesian companies and individuals. Yes, they're okay. Blossom make profits. We addressed that. Blossom, we earn our profit through profit sharing. We only earn money when investors earn money. Who to contact for this in India? So we don't have a representative office or partner in India. We're a U.S. company and Indonesian cooperative. So you would contact us directly through our website or through our email, and we'd be happy to help you. Do you have a representative in India? No. Why is the period for funds locked in so short? Brother or sister Kola Wole asked, why is the period the funds are locked in so short? Not sure I understand the question. I'm not sure that it is short. To some people, 12 months is not short, but so generally many of these small businesses, they only need funds for 3 or 6 months. So we're able to offer shorter tenors because many of the businesses actually only need financing for 3 months. Like, for example, a chicken seller, they just need to finance the purchase of chickens. They'll have that working capital back within a few weeks. So they only need to finance it for a very short period of time in many cases. But others need a longer time. And so that's why the 12-month tenor. By the way, I want to point out, if you invest for a 12-month tenor, it's not that we're taking the funds and we're investing them one time. Many times your funds will be reinvested again and again and again, sometimes every single month, because many of the financing with these small businesses are very short term. So when you provide, for example, $1,000, we disperse that to many businesses. We spread it up. We combine it with the funds of other investors. We disperse it to many businesses, but the funds get reinvested, and that's the key. But the reason for the tenor is we need to make sure that we align the funds being, the financing is being repaid by these businesses according to the timeline of when the investors are expecting to withdraw their funds. Okay, so that's the reason for the tenor. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Ahmed. Excellent initiative. May Allah bless. I mean, is this available in Canada? Oh, yes, I think I already answered this. Is it available in Malaysia? Yes, it is. The only restriction in Malaysia is you cannot, Bank Negara, which is the central bank of Malaysia, does not allow you to invest in foreign investment products with leverage. So, inshallah, I hope nobody is going to take loans to do investment. That's a bad business decision anyway. But if you live in Malaysia, as long as you don't have a certain amount of debt, local debt, then you're able to invest in any foreign investment, including Blossom Finance. May I know for the service, will any country aside from Indonesia, if so, will be the upcoming country blessed? Oh, I already answered that. How often, Brother Hadif asks, how often are we able to withdraw funds? You can withdraw funds every month. Again, just be careful because it would be subject to the transfer fee of $10 to $15. So we don't recommend withdrawing funds every month. Can I get a brief as I join late? Yes, inshallah, the video and the slides will be available for everyone to review later. The fund locking concept of locking funds similar to staking, except we're investing in micro businesses rather than actively participating in transaction validation. Brother Said asked a question. Sounds like it's related to blockchain. This is not. Sorry, give me one. So the Brother Said question is related to blockchain. This is in no way related to the blockchain or staking or anything like that. This is, we collect funds from international investors. We provide those funds to micro and small businesses to finance, generally working capital, to finance materials, purchase of real materials, sometimes equipment, etc., using a network of service partners. So this is nothing related to blockchain staking, etc. Wa alaikum salam. What happens in worst case Blossom goes bankrupt? Brother Imran asks, what happens in worst case Blossom goes bankrupt? So great question, brother. So in the contract, we have specific protections for various types of really, unforeseeably terrible types of events like that. But the investments collectively own these underlying financing assets. So God forbid, even in the worst possible scenario, even if our service providers were to cease to exist, etc., we have multiple layers of protection so that these financings are the genuine assets of the investors. And this is on our team. We have Khalid Haladar, who was the head of risk management at Moody's rating agency for the Middle East region. So we've structured this product, and we've put together this product in a way where there's multiple layers of risk protection at every level, including very, very adverse, unforeseeable types of events. So that answers the question. Please, brief and short, what did I miss? Yeah, well, we're not going to go do the entire presentation again, but so if you just joined, inshallah, the video will be available. You can watch the video after. Investment should be done for 3 months minimum. That's correct. What is the fee like? The fee is 20% of your profit. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. What's going on here? Just join late. Please brief. As I said, 10 to 14% ROI per year. How does profit sharing work since it's 20% per year? So yeah, so that 10 to 14% ROI, that's gross. So when, let's say, okay, if you invest $100, you get back, it's 10 to 15%. Let's say you get back $110. So we take 20% of your profit. So if you got $10 in profit, we would take $2. So you would get $108 back. So your net return would be 8% in that case, if it was a 10% return. Okay, so it's the ROI that we quote is based on gross, and then we take 20% of your profit. So if you don't have any profit, we don't take any fee, right? Inshallah, that would never happen. But basically, if the worst case, you get 10% return on $100, so you have $110 that you can withdraw. When you go to withdraw, and we only deduct our fee when you go to withdraw. So we take 20% of your profit. So in that case, we would take $2 from your $110. So you would receive back $108, inshallah. Bro, you have done a great job. Thank you very much, Brother Asper. Can we get the details of businesses we're investing in? No, we do not provide, Brother Abrad, we do not provide the personally identifiable information about businesses that you invest in. We do provide the aggregate about the industry sector and the region, but for some legal reasons and also just logistical reasons, we don't provide the individual details of who the person is and what's the name of their business, including Indonesian legal restrictions on the transfer of local Indonesian data to overseas. I am a Nigerian living in Switzerland. I hope I can invest in this. Yes, inshallah, no problem. We accept, no problem. No matter where you live, as long as you're not in, for example, Iran, I know is sanctioned. Sudan and South Sudan are sanctioned by U.S. Somalia also, we're not able to offer, unfortunately, investment if you live in Somalia. But if you're Somali and you live overseas, no problem, inshallah. Is there a maximum amount of loan you can offer an individual business? Yes. Excuse me. So Brother Ryan is asking, is there a maximum amount of loan you can offer an individual business? So yes, the maximum is based on the total funds for the portfolio that's invested. We don't allow any individual business to be more than, I believe it's 1% of the total funds. So why? Because we don't want an individual business to cause a major impact to the portfolio. If one business had a problem, we don't want that to affect, or infect is actually a reasonable term too. We don't want that to ruin the portfolio. So we limit it based on the total available, the total funds that the portfolio currently has invested, and we limit that to a very, very small amount by percentage of the total amount. There are a couple other things we do. We limit the concentration in any one specific industry segment. So It varies depending upon the region, but we generally don't like to invest more than 10% in one industry sector. We also don't, there's a couple other things we do, but those are the main ones I would mention, is that a maximum a business can receive, an individual business, and generally it's about $1,000. That's not the maximum, but the average amount that people need is about $1,000. Hold on one second. My son is calling. So great question about maximum individual amount and amount financed for an individual business. But generally, we do have some, I believe, that were $15,000 and $20,000 in our previous funds, but generally it's around $1,000. Any exchange related risk. So Brother Said asked a great question. So this I would highlight, and this is very clear on our website. The number one risk associated with this is actually not about the individual businesses. It's not about Blossom. It's not about the microfinance. It's actually about the exchange. So if your currency, let's say you live in India, if the Indonesian rupee, I believe it's rupee, right? If the Indonesian rupee appreciated and became very valuable, in other words, it gained, the Indian currency did very well, you're going to be receiving, so there's currency risk here. You would be receiving back less money because after conversion rate, your money, basically let me start over. This fund is in Indonesian rupiah. So all the investments are made in Indonesian rupiah, and the basis of reporting is in Indonesian rupiah. We also, on the app, we provide you visibility in your local currency. So you can see based on your actual local currency, how much is your portfolio worth, and also over time. So we track, when you register from India, for example, we track in INR. When you register from USA, we track in USD. So you can see your performance over time based on the historical exchange rate. Now, fluctuations in exchange rate do present some risk, because if there's a dramatic move in exchange rate, that would affect your return. Okay, so that is a risk associated with that. Now, many people ask, do we provide an insurance for currency exchange, or do we provide hedging? Unfortunately, no, today we do not do that. One of our goals is making sure the platform is 100% Sharia compliant. It's actually very difficult to do Sharia compliant hedging in the marketplace today, but it's something we're investigating, inshallah. So I want to be very clear. There is a foreign exchange risk. Now, one way you can mitigate this is currencies fluctuate over time. If it's a particularly bad month from an exchange rate perspective, one thing you can always do is just reinvest the funds and withdraw them at a later point, right? And that's obviously a wise thing to do. If, for example, for some reason, India sends a new rocket into space and the rupee strengthens, and so dollars, $1 is worth less Indian rupee, that would not be a good time to invest. But if the Indian rupee is weak, that would be a great time to withdraw your funds. Similarly, in the US, if the US dollar falls, that's a great time to withdraw your funds, because you're getting more dollars for your funds. Okay. This is actually a very complex topic. We have, inshallah, we'll link it. We can link it later. We'll put it on the landing page that will be available. We have a calculator that shows you can calculate various foreign exchange scenarios based on your own currency. What would some foreign exchange scenarios be? May Allah bless you, your initiative for the poor. Ameen, ameen, inshallah. If anyone in India wants microfinance, is possible. No, we don't provide any finance. Again, we work with our network of finance providers. We only do this in Indonesia, where we have a proper license and we're regulated to do this type of investment product. Switching over to Q&A only. He said, no, does blockchain finance use blockchain? We used to, Brother Said asked, does Blossom Finance use blockchain? We used to. We've moved off the blockchain for a variety of reasons, especially due to what's called the gas cost associated with the transactions. And also we found it was more confusing for a variety of investors. So we've actually moved off the blockchain. We no longer use blockchain technology. If a small business in Central Java wants to borrow from Blossom Finance, where should they go? So this brother Ira Yulianti wants to know about receiving financing, you should find a local BMT. And if you message us through a website, we're happy to help connect you with one of our local service partners. And depends upon where you are. Central Java is very big. But especially if you're in Jogja region, we'd be happy to connect you. Okay, last 12 months, how much minimum profit? Sorry, I just need one moment. My son needs attention for a moment, so I'll just pause for one moment.
Inshallah, as we are nearing the end, there'll be two more slides that we'll be sharing. One, I will go through the most common questions with Matthew. Yeah, I'm here. I'll be going through the most common questions with Matthew, and I'll request him to probably give us quick answers for that so that the entire thing summarizes. And then for all the people who joined in from India, inshallah, I will be showing you a website through which you can invest directly into Matthew's funds in Indonesia through a seamless digital mechanism approved by the regulator as well. So we wait for Matthew to come back, and inshallah, we will. I'll be able to help you with that as well. Over to you, Matthew. You're on mute. Matthew, your mic is on mute.
Hello, hello?
Yep, it's fine now.
Okay, fantastic. So, oh no, unfortunately, I'm not able to see the questions. Looks like the questions disappeared. Are you able to go through the questions? Unfortunately, the questions disappeared from my screen. You're on mute, brother. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, always happens. I think we're running past our time as well. It's an hour and 23 minutes already. Matthew, what I'll do is to so that we summarize everything, I'm just going to ask you about 6 or 7 questions, and I'll request you to probably answer them in one-liners or probably one word.
Sure.
So that the entire thing summarizes, so that everybody gets a recap of what we've been doing. Inshallah. So what's the minimum size of investment and what's the maximum size of investment?
The minimum investment is around $150 US. The maximum, as of today, would be around $250,000 US, but subject to availability.
You do not have a maximum size from your side.
No, well, we do. If someone invests $250,000 today, then tomorrow we could not take a second $250,000 investment.
All right.
So it's based on availability.
All right. Now, the second question which I have is, where are you regulated and under which authority are you regulated?
Great question. So in Indonesia, we're regulated under the Ministry of Cooperatives as a Sharia savings and loan cooperative, which allows us to provide finance and to take on investment. Our technology company is a U.S. Delaware corporation regulated under U.S. and Delaware state law.
Thank you. What about Halal certification? There are 2 parts to it. At the beginning of any investment that you take on, what are the halal checks that you do? And do you have a Sharia advisory or an advisor that helps you do that? And secondly, on an ongoing basis, how do you monitor the halal certification of that product or that company that you're investing in?
Great question. So the first step is we have an internal Sharia advisory board. We have quite an international panel, one from Qatar, one from Pakistan, and one from Indonesia. They overall supervise the product. As well, the second level is within each of our finance partners, they have their own Sharia board that supervises their activities. So there's actually 2 levels of Sharia supervision. We also conduct an audit. So we do Sharia audit. In addition to normal financial audit, we also conduct Sharia audit, including surprise inspection, to make sure we pull up we have all the details of every financing. We go and we can inspect those to make sure that is all being done in a Sharia compliant manner, and there's no Sharia non-compliance. What was the second part of the question?
I think you've answered both the parts.
Okay, so, fantastic.
In short, what's the fee that you take? Is there a fixed management fee, or what are the fee and the schedules?
There's no fixed management fee, administrative fee, or withdrawal fee. The only fee you'll incur is we take 20% of your gross profit. So whatever profit you earn, we take 20% of that. We don't charge any recurring annual, monthly, or otherwise fee, nor withdrawal fee or deposit fee. The only other fee you'll bear is not charged by us. It's a bank transfer fee. When you withdraw your funds, you would pay the $10 to $15 to withdraw the funds.
Sounds good. So if the fund does not make any money, there will be no fee.
That is correct. If your investment specifically does not make money, we will earn zero fee.
All right. Moving on to the last questions, a couple of last questions. What's the maximum time period that people can be invested in?
There's no maximum to invest, but the maximum tenor is 12 months, meaning you can select to invest for 12 months. After that 12 months is completed, you have the option to withdraw your profit, but you're not required to. You can continue to reinvest the funds as long as you'd like. There's no maximum period, but the maximum tenor you can select is 12 months. And that tenor is basically the commitment.
Right. Investors can choose to reinvest their profits as well.
That is correct. You can choose to reinvest your profits. And we encourage that, especially if you have a small investment amount. That will increase your overall profit of your investment because you're not paying bank transfer fees. We don't like to make the banks more money than we need to.
All right. I think we've summarized the entire presentation very, very quickly. I hope it was very useful for all the attendees over here. Thank you for attending. Two things at the end. The most common question which has come up from the chat function is, how do people go ahead and make an investment? So to answer that, it's a very simple thing. Inshallah, since all of you are using the Islamicly app and you've come in through that, we will have a banner on the Islamicly app displayed where if you click through that, you will be directed to a landing page, inshallah. This will be up, inshallah, very soon. You can register your interest through that landing page, and you will then be connected directly with the Blossom Finance team, and you can go ahead and initiate your discussion. And after you've gone through their risk parameters and all of the risk disclaimers that they give very, very clearly, you can go ahead and make your choice of investment. So just to repeat myself, how do you get in touch with Blossom Finance, or how do you make an investment with Blossom? You will have a banner on the Islamicly app. It should, inshallah, come up end of day today or tomorrow morning, inshallah. Just click on that. You will get to a landing page. Inshallah, punch in your request over there, and you will be directly getting in touch with the Blossom Finance team. Go through all of their prospectus, directly liaison with them in terms of what you need to ask, and you can go ahead and inshallah make the decision. Now, the last part of before we end this is, how do Indians invest with Blossom Finance? Alhamdulillah, we now have a very easy solution. I will just share my screen and show you how that will be done. I think you should be able to see my screen now. There is this website which has come up, which is called flyremit.com. Now, I am the co-founder of this as well. Now, under the Reserve Bank of India sandbox guidelines, you can easily invest abroad. Just click on the individual section over here, put in the amount of money that you need to remit abroad, and then get started. Very, very easily. Since you are an individual, you can get started over here. You just have to punch in your, I will not give out my mobile number out here. Just punch in your mobile number over here. You get an OTP, inshallah. After you punch in the OTP, the only document that you require is your Aadhaar number. You will get an Aadhaar OTP. Secondly, you will have to give, since it's an overseas investment product that you're looking out for, you will get you will have to submit your 1 year bank statement. After we review it, we'll collect the money and we'll remit it to the Blossom Finance team out there. So it's a very simple, revolutionary product which has come up, flyremit.com. It's available under the RBI regulated sandbox, and inshallah, this will be available till the 31st of January. That since we have the license only till 31st of January, it's a testing license. Any questions regarding Fly Remit, you can come to Fly Remit and punch in your question over here. Our customer support team will be able to answer you directly. Now, getting back to the presentation out here, very, very simple. I hope you guys have understood this. This is not an equity investment. This is an investment directly into halal businesses through the Blossom Finance Fund. The structures that they use is Murabaha and Mudaraba, as Matthew has explained. All of this is Sharia compliant as far as their Sharia board is concerned. A disclaimer from Team Islamicly, because we also have our own Sharia board. The products and the investment structure, the return, nothing is guaranteed by Islamicly. Everything and all communication will have to be done directly with the Blossom Finance team. Islamicly is just a platform which is extending and bringing to the audiences such kind of exciting investment products which is available. So just to repeat myself, Islamicly does not vouch for the halal certification of this because our Sharia board has not reviewed this product. Secondly, Islamicly is no way associated with the Blossom Finance team because this is an investment product regulated under a separate regulator. Please go through all the offer documents, get direct information from the Blossom Finance team, and make your decisions according to that. Now, I've also explained to you how you can, for Indians, how they can make an investment through the flyremit.com platform. It's a user-friendly platform. Anything else that people would want to ask? Okay, somebody's asking me to give a brief in Urdu. I will give a brief in Urdu for probably 30 seconds. मैं आपको उर्दू में समझा दूं कि ये प्रोडक्ट स्टॉक्स और शरिया कंप्लायंस ऑफ स्टॉक्स के बारे में नहीं है. इस्लामिकली एज एन ऐप आपको ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस एक इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोडक्ट है जो इंडोनेशिया में रेगुलेटेड है. यूएसए में फाइनेंशियल टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनी है, डेलीवर कंपनी है, उसके मुताबिक ये प्रोडक्ट मिलता है आपको. आपको कोई भी सवाल हो डायरेक्ट ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस की टीम से आप राब्ता करें. ये राब्ता आप कैसे कर सकते हैं? इस्लामिकली ऐप के ऊपर आपको एक बैनर मिलेगा. इस्लामिकली ऐप के ऊपर जैसे आपने वेबिनार का बैनर देखा वैसे ही आपको बैनर दिखेगा इस्लामिकली ऐप के ऊपर. वहां पर आप क्लिक करेंगे, एक फॉर्म आएगा, वो फॉर्म भरिए. ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस टीम आपको डायरेक्टली कांटेक्ट करेगी. आप डायरेक्टली ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस टीम से राब्ता करें. जो भी आपके सवाल हैं अच्छे से समझिए और उसमें इन्वेस्ट करिए. इस्लामिकली ऐप की शरिया बोर्ड ने ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस के प्रोडक्ट को रिव्यू नहीं किया है. हम आपको ये सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं दे सकते कि ये हमारी शरिया बोर्ड के मुताबिक हलाल है या नहीं. बट इनकी अपनी शरिया बोर्ड है जो इनके वेबसाइट पे भी मौजूद है. इनके अपने क्रेडिबल शरिया स्कॉलर्स हैं जिसके थ्रू उन्होंने शरिया कंप्लायंस को चेक किया हुआ है. आपको डायरेक्टली सारा इंफॉर्मेशन ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस टीम के थ्रू ही मिलेगा. इस्लामिकली ऐप एक सिर्फ प्लेटफॉर्म है जिसके थ्रू हम ये इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोडक्ट आप तक पहुंचा रहे हैं. हम इसको प्रमोट नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम जब इसका इंफॉर्मेशन आप तक पहुंचा रहे हैं. इसके आगे इन्वेस्ट करना है नहीं करना है आपको डायरेक्टली ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस टीम से राब्ता करना पड़ेगा. बहुत ही आसान है. आपको इस्लामिकली ऐप पर बैनर मिलेगा, उस पर क्लिक करिए, वो फॉर्म भरिए, ब्लॉसम फाइनेंस टीम आपको डायरेक्टली कॉन्टैक्ट करेगी. आई होप I have made this our Islamically stand very clear. Brother Zaid Sheikh is asking, but Islamically is advertising for these, then why Islamically not take? I'm not sure what that means. We definitely understand and review the kind of partners that we bring in. We have a higher amount of understanding that yes, Blossom Finance and its products will be Sharia compliant, but because there is statutory and legal liability when we do promotions, we are giving a clear disclaimer that we do not promote or endorse or vouch for the product. You will have to directly get in touch with the Blossom Finance team, read the risk documents, and then make your investment decision after getting in touch with the Blossom Finance team. That's how the whole thing works. Zaid Sheikh is asking the word guarantee. When you work in Islamic finance, there is no such thing as guarantee. When you give a guarantee of X or Y%, that itself contradicts the concept of Islamic finance and the Sharia. Hence, there is no such guarantee. There is no guarantee whether we live tomorrow or not. And that's the beauty of Islam. And that's the tawakkul which we conduct everyday life and the trust that we have in Allah. Inshallah, I hope this webinar was useful. We will keep, depending on the feedback that we receive from the Islamicly community, we will keep organizing these kind of events. Thank you, Matthew, for your time. I am truly impressed by the way you conducted yourself during this presentation. And I must make this observation that you have been very, very honest with the answers. Things that were not, could have made it sound fancy, you did not go for that. You stuck to the ground level, and may Allah reward you for your honesty. May Allah give you barakah and give you and help you help others in the world make halal revenues, halal investment incomes. Inshallah, all of this webinar will be, all the recording of this webinar will be available on the Islamicly app as well as on the landing page that we will create for Blossom Finance. You should be able to go through all of this at your leisure as well. With this, we'd like to end. It's been an hour and 37 minutes. I'd like to thank the audiences and the Blossom Finance team for bringing this and allowing Islamicly to present this. And may Allah reward all of us and forgive our sins. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.